Welcome to episode 52 of Shane Talks. I am joined, as always, by Jason L. Maier, and we brought back our favorite guest, Jason Richardson, and it's been a long time. We're going to just do a quick addressing of that real quick. Jason and I took our fall break back at the end of August to get family stuff ready before school started. We came back for one episode where Jason did his Jason Talks Musicals episode, which is a blast to listen to. Lots of great stories and talks in there. And then I started dealing with a lot of personal issues, and I went to a really dark place for a couple of weeks, and kind of my drinking got out of control, and I just went kind of really super deep into a depression, spent a couple of days like not getting out of bed and stuff, and just had a really rough time. My car broke down. I've had some job issue stuff going on. I've had some relationship issue stuff going on in the family. Just all kinds of crap just all crashed down on me and just sent me to a super deep, dark place. And I never felt like doing these podcasts. So I luckily am starting to crawl myself out of that. Jason Maier has been asking me for the last 2 weeks when we were going to do another episode. So that's definitely helped get me back to this point where I wanted to talk about movies again.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, man. I am currently drinking NAs. I'm on a not going to be drinking alcohol anytime soon phase of my life. So drinking some 0.0s right now, and just gonna try to keep working on myself and getting life back to being better. So step one for me, drinking with these guys. Jason, this is probably the first time in the history of the world that you are drinking alcohol without me, like that I'm not drinking at the same time. You're drinking Movies Golden Ale.
Yep. I assure you we're open.
So that's a can that I got you about back in August when I went down to Louisville to go to the Kevin Smith pop-up restaurant that they did movies. Every town that they go to, they pair up with a brewery in that town, and they brew a beer for the movies pop-up restaurant. That's the one from Louisville. What do you think of it?
It's fine. It's nothing special. I don't know if I'd ever order. I might order it if it were if I was at another movie's pop up or something. But other than that, I'm probably not going to go looking for this.
Well, you wouldn't be able to, since it was only brewed with whatever Falls City Brewing or whatever it is down there in Louisville. Yep. But I do have a gift for you the next time I see you in person. This is the movies can that they did here with Ellison Brewing here in Indianapolis. So I've got one of these for you. It is a American lager, but it doesn't taste like a lager at all. It's super light. It's actually kind of refreshing. This was actually the last beer I've ever drank before I went on my break. So I do have one of those to give you the next time I see you in person.
I wish you could pop this top closed again, just so I could keep the can. I don't need to keep the can.
I mean, you can wash out the can with water and then keep the can. I kept the can. I kept both of the cans that I've gotten. I consider them collectibles. But you can just wash it out.
Yeah, good point. Maybe I'll do that.
Jason Richardson, what water are we drinking on tonight?
Is it the Walmart?
The kind you get from Walmart, Nestle Pure Life.
Okay, so boring. You haven't changed that up yet. Liquid Death water. It's available at a lot of gas stations. I'm starting to see it. It is the most pure water you can get. I highly recommend that.
Well, maybe I need to wear your T-shirt. Since my drink is so boring. Since my drink is so boring, I might stab a bitch.
So part of the other thing that's been holding me back from doing more episodes is during the fall break, I really wanted to create an intro sequence for us, which I have not sat down and done yet. I've got an idea of a quick 30-second intro thing that I want to do, but it's going to take me time. I haven't made time for that. I wanted to come up with a 8-bit sounding theme track for us during that 30 seconds. I haven't taken the time to make that yet. And then part of our episodes moving forward is we're going to try to do a lot shorter episodes, which I know is tough because I talk a lot and I don't shut up, but we're going to try to previous scripts and previous discussions with people. I know, right?
We're 10 minutes in already, so.
Previous discussions with people have gone to explain to me that I tried too broad of topics for us to talk about. We go off on tangents. It takes forever. We're going to try to cut down closer to hour-long episodes, kind of have a smaller more focused topic that we're going to talk about. And a couple of months ago, Jason Richardson made a comment when I made the comment about why our episodes are so long, what needs to be cut out of them. Jason Richardson said, "You guys don't need to do the 'What have you guys watched' segment." He was anti "What did you guys watch this week?" Made it very clear to me that he did not enjoy the segment we added called "What did you watch this week?" So for this episode, this episode is literally just "What have you watched recently?" is what the three of us are going to talk about for this whole entire episode.
God.
And Jason, just so you know, you don't even have to do any work. I went through your entire Facebook for the last 2 months, and I've written down everything that you told us you watched, starting with The Many Saints of Newark. I'm not a huge Sopranos fan, so I don't have anything to say about it, but I know you and Maier have both watched it, so talk to me about The Many Saints of Newark. Were you happy with it?
I was, and I never watched the Sopranos HBO series. I tried, I just didn't get into it. And when this came out, I just said, I got to entertain myself somehow or another. Let me kind of maybe start from the beginning and then kind of work my way in the show, whereas a lot of people have seen the show and then they're going to watch the movie prequel. So I'm kind of undecided if I'm gonna watch the show or not, but I did enjoy the movie. There's some slow parts, but I enjoyed it.
Maier, I know you watched the whole Sopranos, didn't you?
No. Actually, I haven't. I think I might have watched an episode way back in the day. I just started watching I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I just and it's interesting, but it's not caught me yet. But I heard that the second season is actually like on almost every TV show, right? Like the second season is usually where they actually hit their stride and start picking up where people fall in love with the show, like hardcore.
Am I mistaken that you watched Many Saints of Newark?
I didn't watch it, man.
You didn't watch it? Oh,
I want to. But with it being on HBO Max and me currently having that, I've been kind of like, do I wait? I wanted to go see it in the theater, but I don't know if I'm going to make the time. I still have to see Dear Evan Hansen in the theater before it leaves. I think
I've been confusing you.
I think it's off theaters at this point. So
nope, there's a few. So, and even this upcoming week,
showings in the city.
No. Well, it's still at Keystone Art, full schedule. Okay. And it's at a couple other theaters, full schedule. So I'm keeping an eye out on it. I'm trying to make that happen before it disappears. So
yeah, I know it's already on Vudu. So if I have to drop $20 to watch it at home, that's what I'll probably end up doing.
Yeah.
So after that, Jason, Richardson, you watched the original Candyman, which I absolutely love. I think is one of the best horror films. It's actually one that I'm planning on showing my wife this weekend if we end up making the time for it. But yeah, I definitely really big fan of Candyman.
Love it. Love that.
I am myself. I go back. I kind of have a soft place for the Candyman movie, the original. I worked at a movie theater, Eastgate, when that actually came out. It was a big success as far as a horror movie in theaters. It drove the crowds in for a couple weeks. And just remember liking it at the time, and didn't think much of it until years later when I'm managing the theater and we had the opportunity to do the Scarefest.
Scarefest 99.
Scarefest 99. Bring back some horror movies, some classic, and then more up to date. And I remember like Candyman is. That kind of, I think people would come and see that again. And it's so weird because it was only like maybe 7 years later, and we're playing that like it's 20 years old or something, But we played that for the weekend, and it did really well. And so when I think of Candyman, not only did I like the movie, but it just takes me back to that period of when I worked in the movie theaters, and I enjoyed the experience then, and then playing it later for the Scarefest, and a couple hundred people coming to watch it. It was pretty exciting. So let
me tangent off that real quick, because that goes into a whole bunch of stuff for me to talk about. The Scarefest you're talking about was in 1999, which was when I worked for you at Clearwater.
Right.
That same year, you also did the Gen X Film Festival in March and April of
I'm looking at the
1999.
posters right now as we speak.
Yep. Look at those posters because you'll see two movies on those posters. One of them is Mallrats.
Yep.
And one of them is Empire Records.
Yeah. No. We had Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Clerks, Mallrats.
Dazed and Confused.
My glasses. Dazed and Confused. The Crow, The Professional. I can't read the rest. On the Scarefest 99, we had Fright Night and Ghostbusters week 1. Week 2 was Candyman, Invasions of the Body Snatchers, Christine and the Thing, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Silver Bullet, Misery, and Christine.
Okay.
Now,
So all of those. What's that?
Hold on, real quick. The funny part to me is with all of those movies, the ones that you just listed off of those 2 festivals that we did as a company. All that pops into my head is how many of those did Devin actually not want on there? Because like that entire playlist sounds like it was like literally Devin Klaus picking every single movie to me. So that's on the side note. So.
No, it was a mutual thing. I mean, Silver Bullet and the Thing. I know that would have been me. Invasion of the Body Snatchers would have been me. Candyman would have been me. Fright Night.
Mainly, I'm sorry. I was mainly thinking of the Gen X.
The Gen X. I probably needed some help from some people there. So
I'm still gonna say I'm 99% sure that Empire Records is on there for the Gen X Film Festival.
I'm looking at the poster and it's not on there.
That's odd because those Mallrats and Empire Records were both released today in 1995.
Wow.
October 20th, 1995. Those 2 movies came out on the same day. And I swear that I watched both of them for the first time during the Gen X Film Festival.
No, we need to go back and rethink where you saw those.
Okay, that's odd. But okay.
And I've to this day, I've never seen Empire Records.
Oh my God. I tell that to Chris Schneider because I feel like he will change that for you.
Right. I know that he loves that movie. So
the movie's amazing. I can't believe you haven't seen it. And it's so like that time period perfect. So anyway, cool. The other thing I want to say about your list before we keep going is the thing I love about your list is the amount of horror movies, because right now during the month of October, that is almost strictly all I will watch when I'm at home. Like if it's not something new that I'm watching, when I watch movies at home this month, it has to be a horror movie or some type of horror TV show or something like.
Oh my goodness. Yes. And all I kept thinking, like today, I'm thinking, okay, I got like 10, 11 days, 10, 11 more days of the month left. I got plenty of more horror to get into. And I haven't even really jumped into my Halloween stuff yet, like the Halloween movies.
Sure.
I've seen it on AMC a little bit here and there on the Fear Fest, but 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, AMC has not been pushing them as much this year. So I'm gonna have to pull out the DVDs and kind of reminisce with those. So.
And I remember last year us talking about how AMC literally one day was showing them in reverse order. Like they went 6, 5, 4, 3. And it was like, how do you air them backwards? Like, why would you do that?
They still do that. Do that. But I'm excited because AMC pulled away from the original Halloween 2 for a while, and it's back on this year. So
cool.
Yeah. But I wonder how they come up with those list of movies.
Scroll it up for me.
Maybe that's something you can investigate.
Dazed and Confused and Swingers. Scroll it up. Fudge Sickle. Okay. I mean, I'm obviously thinking of Dazed and Confused then, but
Thought I'd figure that out for you.
Well, I appreciate that. I have that poster somewhere in a box over there, which makes me mad because I thought I had both the 2 posters that you have, the Gen X and the Scream or Scarefest. But the last time I opened that box and looked through it, I only have the Gen X poster, which sucks.
And I think there was another Scarefest. I think it was Scarefest 98, maybe. I know there was a couple of years where we did the Scarefest, and I don't have that poster, but I would love to try to see if I could find out what we played that year. So
yeah, it was either 98 or 2000. It was one or the other because it was 2 years in a row that we did it.
Because 2000 we went to
Greenwood. You guys were in
Greenwood.
Greenwood by 2000, so it would have been 98.
Greenwood, and we'll have to figure that out. But going back to Candyman, did you didn't mention if you guys liked it or whatever?
Oh, I love Candyman.
The original,
It's
love it.
Yeah.
Yep. There's no like I can't even. It is frightening to me. Like it's so well done. Like yeah.
Have both of you guys seen the sequel?
I have.
That and Halloween are my the original Halloween and the original Candyman are my two favorite horror movies of all time. Followed very closely by Scream.
Mayor, have you seen the Candyman sequel?
Farewell to the Flesh.
No. I'm sorry.
The one that's in theaters now.
The 2021 Candyman. Okay.
I would have if I was still working in theaters, but since I'm not, I missed it.
Okay.
So,
Wait a minute, you're going to movies every single week. Like
I'm trying to. Things slip through the cracks, man.
Can we just highlight that for a second, Shane? Since we're talking about
yeah, go for it.
I can't. Okay, so for me, the current Candyman that's in theaters now came out at the end of August.
Not in there.
To me, it wasn't. It wasn't really scary. It was more eerie. But I tell you what, I thought it was very intelligent. I thought it was well written.
Yes.
And when I went into it, I actually thought it was going to be just a reboot of Candyman. And I love how they tied it with the first one.
Sure.
And I thought it was done really well. And I think a lot of people were disappointed with it because they weren't really scared from watching it. But the way they pulled from the first one and tied it with this one, I just thought it was executed very well.
I agree overall. I give the movie like a 7 out of 10 for me because like I kind of enjoyed it while I watched it, but my problem with it was I feel like it was a missed opportunity because the first film is really all about how Candyman fucks with Virginia Madsen for the entire movie. He, makes a bunch of things look like she did it when she didn't, but he is behind all of these things and just completely destroys her life.
Right.
That's what I wanted. I did know the connection between the two movies, so I knew who the main character was. I wanted more of Candyman destroying his life as opposed to trying to take over his life.
Right. Yeah.
I felt like it was a missed opportunity because it's a very Jordan Peele ending to it. I know he didn't write it, but being the producer, I feel like he had a big influence on the end of the third act. And I was just kind of like, I didn't really care for how they ended it.
But I thought that it was, and maybe again because of Jordan Peele, to me it was a for horror thriller type. I thought it definitely deserved an A. It was just done very well, in my opinion. And a lot of times you walk out of a horror movie and it's so horribly bad, cheesy kind of.
Sure.
And I just thought this was like slick, A plus. I highly recommend if you really like the first Candyman, you may like how they tied things from the first one. So.
It's definitely worth watching. Because of the way my brain works, I wanted things to be different, and so I was disappointed that they didn't do what I wanted.
Well, that's when we get to Halloween. That's where I'll come in on your thinking in there. So
that'll be our coup de grace at the very end. That'll be our penultimate discussion is Halloween Kills. Next up is a movie I know that Mayer likes, Shocker. One of Wes Craven's best, like, cheesy, like, a guy that can travel through electricity. I put it in his top 5 horror movies that I like.
Okay, sure. We can go that route.
I mean,
do you know why? Do you know why I watched that?
Why?
Well, number one, because I own it. But 2, I always forget what happens in this movie. And I remember when it came out, and I know it's cheesy as hell, but I just tend to forget the plot and what actually happens. We all have those movies where, you go 3, 4, 5 years or whatever, and you just forget about it. It exists, but like you were like, oh, I don't remember this scene, or like what happens, like what's the plot, and So it's one of those movies I'll put in every, 4 or 5 years just to get a laugh because I know it's bad, but I forget about it.
You know what's great is you say that, and I'm sitting there going like, I don't have any of those movies, and then it finally dawns on me that Close Encounters of the Third Kind, totally that movie for me. Like,
same thing.
Really enjoy it. I just every now and then I'm like, what the hell happens in that movie? Really, like overall, like it's just. And you see all the stuff that people spoofed off of that one, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
I can remember those spoofs. And then I'm like, and then you really think about it, and you can maybe pull it back together. But it's one of those movies to me where I'm like, every time I watch it, I go, oh yeah, I forgot that this happened. Like,
and I think the only reason why too I have it is I got it in some kind of like 4-pack or something.
Well, and I mean, it's Wes Craven. There's nothing wrong with that. Like.
Oh,
as bad as the movie is.
I like cheesy, fun stuff. Because
Sure.
the movie is so bad.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's so bad that all you can do is laugh from it, and that's kind of the entertaining part of it. It's like, who greenlit this? I mean, and Peter Berg of all people is the lead guy in it, and it's just like, well, if you could get a part at that age, you'd be happy, and hope that you have a brighter future in film later,
Which he did, because I think he's a terrific director. So
yeah.
Your next one is honestly a movie that I haven't seen, and I feel like I should, and that's Psycho 2.
Never seen it either.
You've seen the first one, right?
Oh yeah,
Love
hundreds of thousands of times.
So the first one, it's such a classic that it's like, how do you fuck with that? Like, how do you even remotely try to do a sequel of the original, from the original? And I forget how good Psycho 2 is. So here you've got 20 years later, it's in color, and I put the movie in, the DVD in, and I don't remember. I just know it's got Meg Tilly, and vaguely remember the end a bit. So it's one of those where I've forgotten a lot and I hadn't seen in years. But, I watched it. I'm like, wow, this is really good. Like, this is like to come out with a sequel with such a classic. And I think, to me, the film is underrated, and I highly recommend watching it to get your opinions with both of you, because I just thought, like, wow, if they're going to make a sequel, this was the way to go about it.
Okay. Definitely going to have to check it out. The next one you guys are going to be able to talk about, I still haven't made time to go watch it. No Time to Die. How do you guys feel about the end of Daniel Craig?
Okay. Do you know anything, Shane? We should be careful on our spoilers.
Yeah, nothing's been spoiled for me yet.
Shane, you're a movie buff and you have not seen James Bond yet?
I have not been able to make the time for it.
Well, it's 3 hours of your time, so.
I know. If it had been available for me at home, I would have already watched it. But finding 3 hours after working all day or doing stuff on the weekends, I have not made the time to go watch it yet because it's 3 hours.
Okay, so here's the deal with No Time to Die for me.
Mm-hmm.
Not a huge James Bond fan. I can tell you that the movies that I really enjoy of James Bond, I've got 2. One's GoldenEye, second one's Casino Royale. Both directed by Martin Campbell, both well done. That was Martin Campbell for both of those, right?
Sounds right, I believe, yeah.
I think so. So those 2 movies, fantastic. What I really like about the Daniel Craig storyline is that it doesn't they introduce you to James Bond in Casino Royale. He's not a 00. He gets 007. He wasn't 007 before that. So in my
opinion, the original one?
No, I'm talking to Daniel Craig.
The Daniel Craig.
Yep.
Okay.
Daniel Craig one. I've never seen the original Casino Royale. But so my favorite thing about the first Casino Royale with Daniel Craig was the fact that you're introducing us to James Bond, which they've never, in my opinion, all the ones that I've seen, it's always been like, this is James Bond. You know who he is. there's no, I mean, he might go around saying Bond, James Bond, but he doesn't sit there and nobody's like, hey, now you're a 00 and now you're the best secret agent we've ever had kind of thing. They never mention all that exposition crap. It's literally, you just go right into the action with James Bond. So that was kind of cool and interesting from that perspective. With No Time to Die, it's my second favorite of the Daniel Craig series. It's a solid movie. You could probably trim like 10 or 15 minutes, but I don't know exactly where you would do it. That's my only issue. Just to make it feel a little bit tighter, but I'm okay with the runtime with everything that they're trying to accomplish. I had fun from beginning to end for the most part. And I'm glad that I saw it on opening weekend. And yeah, I thought it was fantastic. And I know that Daniel Craig said that he was done with Bond. So I knew that before going in. So I was hoping and it didn't disappoint. So
Richardson, did you like it?
I did like it. I saw it twice and I wanted to go see it again because I knew I would miss some stuff just because you're excited for being there on the first night and whatnot.
Sure.
And I did like it. For me, it was kind of sad to know that Daniel Craig was not going to continue the James Bond franchise because when I quit the movie theater business, that's the year that Casino Royale premiered in 2006.
Yep.
And so, for almost 16 years now, he's played James Bond.
Yep.
And he is by far my favorite Bond. I liked James Bond movies before Daniel Craig became Bond, but Daniel Craig took it to a new level. And the creators that kind of reboot this James Bond series have done a phenomenal job. And I can't expect all of the James Bond movies to be the same, although I do kind of. I'm shocked that Jason didn't mention Skyfall because I think Skyfall was just incredible. I loved. I'm gonna give you a thumb up on that one.
You're talking about Home Alone with James Bond, huh?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Skyfall. Casino Royale is phenomenal, and
I enjoy that one a lot.
I'll give you Casino Royale, then Skyfall. No Time to Die, for me, I can't complain about the movie because I just like Daniel Craig as James Bond. Was it my favorite of all of them? No, it was not. But to me, it was probably the most mature of all of Daniel Craig's Bond films because I think it was very more geared to the story. And if you look at the 5 films that he's done, they're all linked together. Yeah. And so a lot kind of comes at you at the end here. And so for me, No Time to Die was much more story character driven than action. I didn't think there was much action in No Time to Die, which you're used to with the Bond films. But, I was okay with that. Although I wish that there were more action. It's just a way to wrap him up in this. It's a good film. Is it my favorite? No, but I can't hate on him, any of his Bond roles. So I'll wrap it up with that.
Time out, Mr. Mayor.
My last thing, I'm going to complain to Jason Richardson right now.
Okay.
Because I've complained about the fact that we saw way too many gadgets from this trailer. And guess what? Not a single gadget that wasn't shown in the trailer showed up in the movie. I did not have a moment in time where I went, oh shit, that's so cool. If I wouldn't have known about there's like 10 things that I saw in the trailer that if they never showed it in the trailer, I would have flipped my freaking lid while watching in the movie theater.
I guess for me, with
didn't have a single moment like that.
The cuts are so quick in the trailers that I just don't pick up everything in trailers.
That's fine. And
you know what I mean? I was just kind of like, I didn't really feel like they gave away a lot in the trailer. You know what I mean? Because the cuts are so damn quick that it's just kind of like,
maybe it's because I'm glad that you can enjoy trailers and forget about them enough that you can enjoy the movie to a different level than I can. Because when I watch the trailer and I see all those things, all the little gadgets pop out in the trailer, and then I'm like, all right, is Jaybird right? Are they going to give me something new? And I'm sitting there watching for it. And like literally every time they show me something from the trailer, I'm like, okay, so I didn't get that. And that would have been.
I only remember one gadget from the movie, and that's the watch. And did they show that in the trailer? No.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that one gadget. I apologize. You are absolutely 100% right. One out of like the 4 or 5 things that they could have just kept for me in secret. You're right. I'm sorry. I jump on the grenade. Yep, you're right. So on to the Believers.
Yeah, I've never even heard of the Believers. You got to sell it to me, man.
Okay. The Believers isn't the greatest movie of all time or anything like that, but like sometimes you just like movies because they remind you of a period in your life.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although, but aside from that, I still like the movie. The Believers it stars Martin Sheen, and when he was much younger. And it's 1987. I saw it in the summer of Chicago, one of the best summers of my life. And I went with some friends that I met at the swimming pool in the apartment complex. And we went to the Water Tower Theater, downtown Chicago. We went and had like deep dish Chicago pizza before. And then we went to the Water Tower Theater to watch The Believers. And we just thought we were like all big adults and shit. You know what I mean? Like going downtown ourselves, get pizza, blah, 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 whatever. And it was just, it reminded me of that event that night with my friends and just us enjoying the movie. But at the same time, the movie it's a little quirky, silly, but it's still creepy though. But it's about like voodoo and spells and curses and such, and it's worthy, I think, if you kind of like horror thriller. Okay. And Martin Sheen's always great anyways, but it's about 2 hours, but I enjoyed it. So
cool. I will definitely have to check it out sometime. Your next film is one of my favorite horror genre ones of all time. Not in the slasher genre, but Final Destination is so much fun.
Man, you have been tracking me.
Yeah.
Final Destination, I ended up watching that because AMC is showing that a lot. And I would always kind of miss it.
Okay.
I'd come in the middle of it or something, but I'm like, wait a second, I think I own this. So
yeah.
I pulled out the DVD and watched it. And Final Destination is good in a sense because when it came out, it was something different.
Yeah.
From what you're used to seeing in horror type thriller movies. And I don't look at Final Destination as being a scary movie at all, but it's kind of frightful and it's
creepy,
sense, because you're talking about death.
Yeah.
But that opened our first year at AMC Greenwood. So that kind of holds a special place to my heart because that was, opening weekend, we open up and that's one of the films that played at the time. And it's enjoyable and it's brief and to the point. So
it would have already been out for a while though, because it was a Valentine's Day weekend of 2000.
Really?
Like February 13th, I believe, was the release date on it.
Well, when we opened in March, we opened that.
Yeah, it still would have been out.
So it puts me at that time period.
Understandable.
Greenwood didn't open until May.
That's what I thought.
No, Greenwood opened in March of 2000.
No, you are wrong.
Yes. No.
You might have gone down there to be a part of the team and start doing the hiring, but we did not open our doors until May, sir.
Nope. I'll send you proof of that. So
the first film I remember watching at Greenwood was in May. It was Life as a House. So that was the first movie I remember seeing at Greenwood.
We had Final Destination. We had what's the dude from Dawson's Creek, where he was in the college and he was in that club.
The Skulls.
Josh,
the Skulls. The Skulls. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Which I think was a late April release.
Look it up.
All right, keep talking. What else did you have when you guys opened Greenwood?
Oh my gosh. Good Lord. That's 20 years ago. 21 years ago.
Wow.
The Skull's release date was March 31st of 2000.
So we opened in March of 2000. I know this.
Not unless you opened that movie before anybody else.
Because in April, we had what's the submarine movie? U-75, U-571?
U-571, which came out
that
in May
opened
of
at Greenwood. That was
May
in
of,
April.
May of 2000.
No, April.
This is the greatest episode ever. Us debating release dates. U-571 film
April release
was released.
And then,
okay,
yes.
April 21st. You're right. April 21st.
Right.
Yeah, that was like right when we opened. So we might have opened in April, but I don't remember opening in March.
And in March, we were mad because we were trying to get Aaron Brockovich, and we did not open Aaron Brockovich that in March. Because instead we were getting like U-571 and because we had the Lowe's across the street from us and whatnot.
Yeah, because
I know that we opened up in March of 2000. So,
okay,
all right,
we'll agree to disagree.
I'll find that out somehow or another. I'll find that out and I'll get that.
You got March 17th as Aaron Brockovich's release date. So I'll give it to you. I will bow down to the king of knowledge for movie release dates. So I think you're wrong, but I'll stick with it.
Well, movie release dates and theater opening dates are that's apples and oranges, and you're trying to put them into the same basket.
You know what? While we're here, I mean, shit, we're going to bore these people watching this, but while we're talking about it, look at the movies that opened up in March of 2000.
We're good.
And I'm trying to think of what's that?
I said, let's just move on. Was it the Quad? The Quad was the one that was that closed like right before we opened, right?
Yes. Shane can edit this out.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. That's the point of this podcast, is to be a conversation about people arguing about film.
March of 2000. We did not get Aaron Brockovich, and I was mad about that.
3 Strikes, Drowning Mona, The Next Best Thing. What planet are you from?
We had. That was the Madonna movie.
Yes. The Next Best Thing. What planet are you from? If These Walls Could Talk. Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars. Gate. We had
The Ninth Gate.
We might have had that one.
Aaron Brockovich. Final Destination.
March 24th, 2000 was the grand opening ad in the photo section. Is what I'm just finding online.
Yes. I told you.
Opened March 24th, 2000. I don't remember.
Bow down to you, Jaber.
I don't remember us opening that early, man.
Awesome. So that was 2000. Your next movie
Send that to me, Jason.
Your next movie you watched was Halloween 2.
It's on cinematreasures.org, Jaybird.
Okay.
Halloween 2. Which sadly is now written out of existence because of stupidity. I enjoy Halloween 2.
Why are you calling it stupidity? Like, we don't mind when anybody else retcons stuff. And then, like, here you are complaining about Halloween 2, which honestly, I don't even remember. I know I've watched it, but all I remember is them at that point telling you Laurie Strode was his sister. And who cares if they rewrite that part?
Because, man, I went 20 years of my life knowing that Michael Myers and Laurie Strode were brother and sister. Like, how? Like,
what does that matter? How does that change the relationship at all?
Because I got so many more movies where that was all the plan.
Whatever.
And then she faked her death. And
well, here's the thing. Coming from, I think, between the three of us, the biggest Halloween buff of the three of us. Is there any debate about that?
No.
I wasn't mad that they changed things up. Because if you look at, you had Halloween 1 and 2 that went together. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, was on its own. Halloween 4 changed things up where basically you got Jamie's or Laurie's daughter, Jamie. Jamie's been killed off. I mean, Laurie's been killed off. So that Halloween 4 and 5 is about Laurie's daughter, Jamie. And then you get to Halloween 6, and then you get to H2O.
Well, you're breezing over
is
the fact that 6 connects back to 3. Well, the end of 5 and 6 connect back to 3 with Sam Hain and the cult.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to get at is that, the storyline has changed even in the previous films, because you had Halloween 4 and 5, then you had 6, then you get to H2O, which, Laurie's now alive again.
And she faked her death. She addresses it when she's talking
but
to.
They don't talk about Jamie, the daughter.
Well, maybe she did. I don't know.
See, this is why I didn't care. Like, I literally don't care, because all of those movies suck.
Because what they could do, for the rest of my eternity and while I live, I know this would be hard to film for Jamie Lee Curtis, but you know what? After this trilogy is done next year, we can go 5-6 years down the road. They can come up with another storyline coming off the first Halloween. I'll go see it. I'm just that entertained by Michael Myers that, like, I'd go see damn Michael Myers in space.
All right, fine. Slide this to the side. We might as well just go to Halloween Kills since we're in the middle of all this talk.
I was going to save Halloween Kills till the very end to be like our big discussion.
No, we've already gotten a big discussion out of Halloween too.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Let's go back to Halloween 2. So we know the original Halloween is just like the superior horror movie of all time. I mean, it's just perfect. And it's actually scary. It is still scary and eerie to this day.
Yep.
What did you think of Halloween 2? And if you've seen it?
I enjoy Halloween 2 because I like slasher movies. I like the Freddy franchise. I like the Jason franchise. I love the Halloween franchise. I like the Scream franchise is my favorite franchise. I like killers killing people. Scream's a little bit different because I more prefer the whodunit slasher movies. But something like Michael Myers or Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, I just like those guys killing teenagers in various ways. And Halloween 2, he literally terrorizes an entire hospital. And I know that a lot of people complain about the very small little itty bitty part that Jamie Lee Curtis has in that movie, but I still just enjoy watching Michael Myers kill a bunch of people. That's what I want from the entire Halloween franchise in any of the movies. And that's why I like 4, 5, and 6. Because they're dumb and ridiculous, but Michael Myers goes around killing people. And that's all I want from those movies.
Exactly. Now with that said, when you go back to the original, did you really like the original?
I love the original. The original.
To me, the big difference is, and they had the pressure when they did Halloween 2, that you had other like the Friday the 13th and all that stuff start to come out. The pressure was to show more gore and the violence with Halloween 2. Now, I accept that with Halloween 2, but it takes away from what the first one was doing in the simplicity and not seeing a lot of the gore, which will be part of the discussion when it comes to Halloween Kills. And we can have more of a thorough discussion about that. But no matter what, and the Halloween films got bad as we kind of went along, but I just embrace and love them for what they are. And
because the honest truth about the first Halloween movie, the only blood you see is when he stabs Jamie Lee Curtis's shoulder, right? No other murder has blood. There's no blood in the rest of the movie. If I remember.
And then when you're right. You're pretty much right. So
all the other murders, like stabbing Bob, there's not a bunch of blood. It's strangling PJ Souls. There's no blood. Pretty much none of the other murders have any blood in them.
But the thing about Halloween, the original, compared to all the others, and again, we can elaborate on this later, but to kind of give you a little sneak preview here, a snippet. The lurking of him lurking around, to me, was the scariest thing about Halloween. Them not knowing that he was there, but him lurking around in the shadows and the dark, blah blah blah, etc. And then it kind of changed from there once you get to the rest of the other Halloween films. But anyways.
All right. So let's jump to the 2009 version of Friday the 13th, which I've only ever watched it once in the theater, but I remember actually liking it a lot. Maier, you're a blah? Okay.
It was blah. It was fine for...
It's one that I want to watch this year.
but I don't remember. Like, I've never thought about even going back. I'd rather watch any of the originals than watch that again.
I agree with that, and I think you probably saw the statement I put out the other day in that it's not that it's a bad movie, but it's so dark. And when I say dark, I'm not dark in content. I'm thinking like from the lighting aspect of the movie. I mean, there's in so many of the night scenes, you can't. It just the camera's so pressed up into the action, and it's so damn dark. It's hard to really see what you're watching. And then even like the day scenes, like, you know, them out on the boat and the girls like water skiing or whatever, and it's daylight and there's still this dark tint to it. Like the lighting, it's just dimmed down like to the point, and it's just like, can we just fucking see some people here?
Understandable.
And go back and this like, okay, think about like this, because it was kind of that same 2 to 3 year period. So you remember like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that came out in the mid 2000s or whatever? It had the phenomenal trailer.
Like it had Jessica Biel in it.
It had Jessica Biel in it, right? Like even like the day scenes in that, you know, I love that movie so much, but like the day scenes in that were still kind of very tinted. Okay. Like it was like this. Do you know what am I making any sense whatsoever?
Yeah, it had like a Sophia filter on it.
Why do you think they do that?
With the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one, I feel like they were trying to make it look like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I remember it being very like washed out just because of, you know, bad film stock or whatever they used to make it. But that original one definitely has kind of a little bit of a blown out sepia tone type thing to it. I think that was just what they were going for with the remake on that, was trying to make it feel like the similar tone to the original. Okay. But with the Friday the 13th, again, like I said, I've only seen it once. I remember enjoying it, but again, I haven't seen it since theaters. So when I saw that you were watching it, I was like, I need to watch this again to see if I actually like it or not.
Well, the thing I like about the remake that they did was they there's some twists and some slight changes that they made there. I like the fact that, you know, basically the girl he kidnaps the girl at the beginning. He kills off her friends, kidnaps her, and we find out later that he kidnaps her is because she reminds him of his mother.
Right.
So that's why he didn't kill her off. So then the movie starts off with like her brother then coming looking for her. And I thought, okay, that's an interesting twist, or, you know,
right.
A change up from the original instead of them copying exactly how the first one played out. So I kind of liked how they changed it up a little bit just for, and then, you know, you think you know, the one girl who lasts throughout the movie, you think she's going to be the survivor, where it turns out she gets knocked out at the end of the movie. And then it's the sister that he saves that ends up being the woman at the end that survives.
So many twists. Talk to me about Candyman Farewell to the Flesh.
Oh, I don't even waste any breath on that. It was just horrid.
It is horrid. I agree. I watched it once.
And I love horrid stuff, but like I was just bored and like, ugh. And they didn't even make money off it. I don't know how, unless it was video sales.
Well, they made a third one after that, and the third one's even worse.
I'm not even going to bother. I'm just not. Yeah, and that's very rare for me. So
it's pretty dumb. They go back to Louisiana and they try to give you his whole backstory about like what happened to him and stuff. Like, it's really, really bad.
I never saw the third one. I remember watching the second one because I loved the first one so much, but the second one I found so stupid that I didn't waste any time with anything else.
All right, let's switch over to Jason Maier real quick and go back to when you watched Shang-Chi. What's your feelings on that one?
Shang-Chi. I saw it twice in the theaters. Once with you on opening night, and then I went a couple of weeks later to see it in 3D. The fight scene's phenomenal. The 3D is really good in that film. and I really enjoyed it. I had fun. I thought Aquafina is someone that I find annoying most of the time. I did not find her annoying in this movie, although I was expecting to.
Sure.
And you've pointed out a few things like that you didn't enjoy about the movie, and I totally can see where you're coming from with that, especially with a second viewing. But overall, with it just being an origin story and something setting up for future Marvel fandom crap, then it works for me. It's better than
Thor: The Dark World. Is it better than Thor: The Dark World?
Well, no, I was gonna say, as far as like first movies and series for Marvel, I like it better than I liked Captain Marvel. I liked it better than I liked. I find it more funny and fun than Black Panther. Although I'm not going to say it's a better movie than Black Panther, but I think it's more fun and entertaining than Black Panther was. Black Panther was kind of dark for a Marvel movie. So
I know it hits Disney Plus on Disney Plus Day, like November 12th or whatever. I'll probably give it another watch when I can watch it at home.
I think it's better than Black Widow. I thought it was better than Black Widow for me. So Black Widow just so flat. So
both of them kind of feel the same to me. They both were stories that I just didn't get invested in. I didn't care about what I was watching. But I will say that the choreography of Shang-Chi was far, far better than anything that happened in Black Widow.
And the comedy was better for me in this movie than it was in Black Widow by far. So I had a lot of fun.
Since we're talking about Marvel movies, I'm assuming Jason Richardson has nothing to contribute.
I saw it.
You did? Oh, what'd you think?
I did. I really liked it a lot. I actually think it's probably one of my favorite Marvel films.
Cool.
How many Marvel films have there been?
Like 30 now.
23?
Oh my gosh.
Almost 30.
I think for someone who does not live and die Marvel, I don't hate Marvel, but Marvel is so huge and so elaborate. I think it's really, and I don't read comics and such. I think a lot of the Marvel movies are very hard to follow.
Okay.
And, you've got, one movie comes out, then a sequel comes out, then they do an origin story from one of the characters that's years before, but slightly ties into the two movies that, had a sequel. And then there's all this in and out backwards order, and then you get to the Avengers, and there's like 50 million characters, 50 million things going on. It looks great, but I can't mentally keep up with all that. I like the Marvel movies, but for me, Shang-Chi, I think it was easy to follow. It was a lot of fun. It had a lot of heart to it. Funny moments. I like Aquafina, even outside of this film. And it was fun. So I told a friend of mine, Chris, I said, look here, I know you don't really like the Marvel movies. You have a hard time following the Marvel movies. Go see this movie. You will have so much fun with it, and you will actually understand it. He did, and I was exactly right.
Nice.
He is the one targeted person that basically it all goes over his head. But you know what? It was easy to follow that one. So, and I liked again. And I know it's Marvel. I like seeing the diversified group of people.
Sure, makes sense.
Storyline and whatnot. So
cool. Well, we have hit the hour mark, so just everything after this consider bonus content. We tried, we failed, we got some more stuff to talk about. Like the fact that Jason Maier took his kids to go see Transformers, the 35th anniversary edition, in the theater. And has a great story to tell about it.
So, on a side note, my brother Michael was the first person I ever knew that saw this movie, and he took he was 13, I think, when it came out, or something along those lines, and my grandmother took him to see it, and she was completely confused by the entire film, which is hilarious because I thought that kind of tied in with the Marvel theme that you were just talking about, Jaybird. So, on a side note, so my brother had seen it in the movie theater. I'd never seen this in the movie theater before. So I took my kids. I went to the 35th anniversary. We enjoyed it. But my one of my sons, so I hate spoilers. Don't give me spoilers. I don't want to know anything about my movie. Or my TV shows. I want to watch it. I want to enjoy it, and I want to experience it for myself. So, on that side note, Nicholas, my oldest, was in the theater, and before they showed the movie to us, they showed some. If you ever watched read Twisted Toy Fair Theater in the old Toy Fair magazines, or if you watch Robot Chicken, very much in the realm of what they do, like stop motion, but with actual like action figures and stuff. And it was characters in the movie spoiling and ruining parts of the film, and they showed like 3 or 4 different snippets right before the movie. And after the second one, when the third one started, my oldest started going, no more spoilers. And he covered his ears and he put his head down and he was just looking at his lap. And it made me laugh because I was like, and there were other people in the theater that laughed because he yelled it. And so
How old is he?
He's 11, and he was just he's just not happy with, and he's in theory on the autism spectrum. So so there's he just had a great moment.
He's autistic?
They don't call it autistic really anymore, or they do, but there's different levels of autism now. No, I'm just saying it's just different levels. You're either and he's a high functioning and he has some characteristics of autism. But it's not like he's, there's different varying versions of it. Not everybody's the same. So it's
all I can say is you call him Nick, I call him Mini Letha. So because swear he got her genes, dude. He looked just like her.
You crack me up because everybody says he looks like a mini version of me, and that my daughter looks just like a mini version of Sarah. So, or my daughter Sarah looks like a mini version of Letha. So
no, Nick is all Letha, and then all the rest of the kids are you. Yeah.
So, but yeah, 35th anniversary was awesome. We had a lot of fun. It was entertaining. I do question. It looked like I don't know if it's Fandango or not Fandango. Fathom Events is the one who put it on, and I've seen that they manipulate.
Yep,
their images for some stuff, and I have a feeling they might have done that with this film a little bit too.
I saw specific complaints about Transformers that supposedly they crop all of them down to flat aspect ratio, and that one was definitely a scope film, I believe, and that was the one that I saw the most complaints about in one of the film groups I'm in online, where they were saying they literally cut down the movie to fit it into there. Did it look digitally enhanced, or did it look like it was still grainy print quality?
It looked better than what 1986 version probably was, but it didn't look like it was as top notch as it could have been.
Interesting.
But apparently they cut down Backdraft, and Backdraft was a scope movie, and a lot of people were unhappy about that
I've seen comments about that too. Yeah.
So next on my list that I saw was Cry Macho, which is the new Clint Eastwood movie.
Didn't see it. Tell me about it.
Cry Macho is. Months ago, I heard about it, and I heard that it was Clint Eastwood getting back to his cowboy, making a cowboy movie. So I was like, oh, crap, he hasn't made one of those since Unforgiven. So
sure.
I was pumped. The trailer made me question it a little bit, and then I watched it, and it was very much just a character-driven movie that had he is a cowboy. He's a retired cowboy. And he's a horse wrangler and a horse whisperer kind of guy. And it's the movie's fine. Like if you love Clint Eastwood, you would probably really enjoy the movie. I think he is very hit or miss on his directing. He can still act like I think his acting in it was fantastic, but like overall the movie was just blah. So it was just it's a middle of the road movie. Sorry, like it's not like it's a complete waste of your time, but it's not something where somebody goes cry macho and I'd be like, oh yeah, you have to. No, it's just like if you love Clint Eastwood, go watch it. So.
Richardson, did you see it?
I did watch it. I don't think it's one of his best, but when I say that, it doesn't mean I hated the movie.
Yeah.
I think Clint Eastwood is a superior director. I think anything he directs, it's quality. And it's just a very quiet, simple relationship type movie. And how one person can kind of come into your life out of nowhere and kind of completely change you. Or they change each other. And it's just very simple. It's not action Clint Eastwood and, a lot of rough 'em up and whatnot. It's more character driven and simplicity. And for that, it was a good movie. Not his best, but it was good.
All right, we'll see if I ever get around to watching it. Yeah. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Jason liked it a lot more than the first movie. I remember hearing him say.
Let me chime in real quick on this. Then I'll let Jason, because I've got to use the bathroom. Okay. I don't follow comics and whatnot. I enjoyed the first Venom. I went to see the second one because, why not? Did I hate it? No. But man, that movie was cheesy as fuck. But I will give them a thumbs up and a thumbs down at the same time in that I find it hard to believe. I'm like, either Michelle Williams really needed a paycheck or this was going to get her some independent film later than this. And I'm not trashing Venom. It just doesn't seem like her. To me, the second one we're talking about here, it's so damn short and it's so fast paced. And it is very rare. I picked this up in a movie. But when you're watching this movie, I'm saying to myself, oh my God, they have edited this movie down. This movie is so fast paced that I'm noticing it while I'm watching the movie. And I don't pick that up a lot in movies. It's very noticeable with this. So it's kind of like when you watch a movie and you're getting from point A to point B and how they kind of drag it out from A to B. But sometimes the necessity is there to drag it out. You have to. And this one, they're just like no holds barred. It's just like we're going from A to B to C to D to D. And they're not wasting any time whatsoever. And it is truly noticeable. Jason, did you pick up on that at all with this movie?
To be completely honest, I didn't. Some movies I agree with you, that you definitely can pick that up. But for me, this just felt like it would have been nice to have a little bit more exposition in it, but it also is a Venom movie. So I don't mind that they hit the fast forward button. He's not one of my favorite characters in the Marvel universe anyway. The first movie, I thought the first movie was just kind of okay. It was fine. One of our friends, Brandon Yoder, pointed out that it's a buddy movie. And I was like, oh, okay. Like if you're thinking of Venom as a character and then Eddie Brock as a character and then them teaming up, I do want to warn people that this follows the same trend as all the sequels that have buddy cop movies and those kind of things. But and if you've if you've listened or watched any of these videos, you know exactly what Shane and I complain about with those. Overall, it was fine. And I had more fun this time than I did the first time. And it's just probably because they hit the ground running and they didn't let up. And I'm fine with that. If you can give me an hour and a half, an hour and 40-minute movie that entertains me and gets me talking, especially the end sequence, the end credit sequence, it totally is worth it, in my opinion. So I had fun. Will I watch it? Will I own it? Maybe, probably not. I don't, who knows? If it's free or really cheap, I'll probably pick it up. But otherwise, it's just going to be there. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, I watched that once. And so.
Well, I'm interested when Shane watches it. I mean, it was, I was ready to scream like your son to the screen and say, slow this down. Like, you don't have to, like, it went so quick from bam, 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 bam. And it's kind of like, whoa, wait a second here. And maybe that's because we're just so used to watching movies where they kind of drag shit out for a while, getting from
point need it sometimes, man.
But you don't, but like, it was almost like so fast that it wasn't believable in a sense, you know?
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I am able to break this tie because I did go watch it with Jason Maier. And I can say that I would probably vote Team Maier on this. I kind of enjoyed the fact that it was kind of just a wild ride that started and then kept going. I liked not having the day before we watched the second one, I watched the first one and I remembered, oh yeah, like it's an okay movie. I dig it. It's there. Watched the second one and I was like, all right, well, this one is faster paced and it does some stuff that I don't like. And even though it was pretty quick, I still wasn't as entertained as I wanted to be. And
Woody Harrelson was fine, but like there was, and I can see where you're coming from, Jason, with like, especially with him, it's like, you didn't get a whole lot of exposition about who he is, but then again, do we need that? Come on. Like one of the things that like Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of my classic examples of, we know that these guys are Nazis. We know that they're doing bad. Do we need a backstory as to why or how they got to the point in time where they're going to go to the pub at the beginning of the movie to try and steal the medallion? Like, I don't need that. Like, yeah, they tortured somebody, they killed somebody, they read something. I don't care. Like, I don't need a 17-minute introduction to every single character or backstory into everything. Like, I'm fine with you just hitting the fast forward button on some stuff.
Yep.
So.
And that was what was fine about Let There Be Carnage. Like, it started and it went. And, you know, there's I guess the Crank movies are like that, where they just start and they go. Trying to think of anything else I can think of where it's literally just like the movie starts and then just doesn't stop. But not a lot's coming to mind. But, like, sometimes, like you said, that's just enjoyable for a movie. Like, I don't need 5 minutes of action and then 30 minutes of plot development to lead me up to the next action sequence. Like, I love the Fast and the Furious movies, but you could cut 30 minutes out of each one of those and I'd still enjoy the movies. Like,
easy.
Yeah. Like I watch it for fast cars and, you know, people having sex on the top of a car. Like, that's what I watch Fast and the Furious movies for. Not for 30 minutes of everybody complaining about, you know, The Rock or whatever. All right. So we got Jason back. Let's go to the big movie that we want to talk about. It's Halloween season. Last weekend, we just got the sequel, Halloween Kills. I've watched it twice now. I like it. I don't love it. When they did in 2018, when they did the reboot and made it a direct sequel to the first one, I was okay with it. I still enjoy Halloween 2, and Halloween Kills literally parallels Halloween 2 to me. Jamie Lee Curtis spends the majority of the movie in a hospital bed, and doesn't really have a whole lot to do with fighting Michael Myers in the movie. This one reminded me, between the two movies, the things that I really have enjoyed are the long sequences of Michael Myers killing people. In the first Halloween Kills, there's the nice tracking shot where he goes around the back of the house, kills the woman, goes through the rest of the house, comes out the front. There's a trick-or-treaters out there. He walks into the next house and kills the next person, and it's all just like one long flowing shot. I feel like they kind of did that again this time, just not as in depth when he's after he escapes the burning house, which that's my biggest complaint about the entire movie. I do not enjoy the scene where he becomes John Wick Michael Myers and destroys all the firefighters. That's the only scene in the movie that doesn't feel like Michael Myers to me. I saw a comment online. I can't take credit for it, but I totally agree with it. That opening scene when he attacks the firefighters felt like Jason Voorhees put on the Michael Myers mask for 5 minutes, did that scene, and then gave the movie back to Michael Myers. And when I saw somebody say that comment, I was like, that's exactly how I was feeling. They put it into words. Like, it just felt like he was John Wick to me. Like, he was moving too fast and dodging bullets like Neo, and just...
He didn't dodge any bullets. The firefighters had no bullets.
But I'm sorry, body movement wise, like when he was like dodging them, like swinging their axes or swinging their poles at him or whatever, like he's literally like dodging stuff. And I was just like, never seen Michael Myers move like that before.
Yeah, but like that also sets up what happens at the very end of the movie too.
I guess
this movie was complete crap for me. Like I don't need social commentary when I go to watch a Halloween movie. Michael Myers movie is something that I want to watch killing. I want to watch, I want you to show me cool ways to kill people, interesting ways that I've never seen before. I'm okay with the firefighter sequence. I read somewhere online that people were complaining because it's too gratuitous and why did he have to kill firefighters? And it's like, that makes no sense whatsoever. If he's in a burning building, people are going to show up that are firefighters trying to put it out. It makes perfect sense why they're there. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't he? And like, if he did kill one or two, why wouldn't the rest of them be like, they're brothers? This is what firefighters do. You mess with one, you're messing with all of them. And so to me, it would have made more sense for maybe him to sneak out the back or something, which I would have been fine with, but maybe he didn't have the opportunity. Maybe that's what you're missing, Shane. Maybe they should have shown you that he looks around and sees there's no way out except for the front door. And then that's when he has to go kill everybody.
I'm fine with him killing everybody. I just didn't want him to look like this is an 80-year-old dude. Like, I just didn't want him to look like he was a 20-year-old guy.
But he's obviously superhuman.
He's in his 60s.
60s, okay.
But still,
watching it. I didn't enjoy it at all. Like, I didn't hate the movie to the level it sounds like you did. The social commentary definitely was over the top that I didn't need. The whole mob mentality thing, I was okay with to a point, and they just took it too far, in my opinion.
Dude, and my problem with them, like, and it's not even like the mob mentality portion of it, right? Like my main issue with it was it didn't fit for the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting there it's in the movie and you're trying to make this commentary, and that's fine if it feels like it fits to me. It didn't feel like it fit. I watched Purge what's the Forever Purge. I watched that. Makes perfect sense that your social commentary on the state of the United States of America at this point, or what it was even 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever the case may be. Like, I understood, and I felt like it. I didn't like the movie a whole lot, but I understood it, and it felt like it fit. This social commentary didn't feel like it fit at all to me. And like, I was just completely bored with this storyline.
See, I wouldn't say that it didn't fit, because I feel like Tommy Doyle's speech where they reintroduce his character in this movie, like, is literally the genesis of the entire mob. Like, the mob mentality starts in that bar scene with his story, moves outside when they think they see Michael Myers. And I feel like it just continues to grow exponentially as Tommy Doyle's character tries to get more people involved. Like, that again, it didn't bother me at the beginning, but when you got to the hospital portion of it is where I felt like it was just way too much.
That's where I was going.
Into a Trump rally.
And it just was one of those moments where when you get to the hospital you could have written it, or maybe it was just the way it was directed or edited. I don't know. You could have done it in some different fashion that would have made me entertained by it. And I don't want to use entertainment. Maybe that's not the proper. I would have been engaged by it. Let's put it that way. I wasn't engaged because I didn't find it, and like it didn't speak to me at all because I didn't feel like it worked at all on screen. And I'll totally give you the Tommy Doyle stuff in the bar, engaged.
Right.
Them starting everything, engaged. The fact that but when the patient shows up in the hospital and it's mistaken identity, like at that point I wasn't engaged anymore. Like you needed to figure out a different way. Personally, I didn't think it worked. So
all right, let's turn it over to Richardson. Give me your professional Halloween opinion.
I was very excited to see it. It'd been delayed. It'd been delayed a year.
Yep.
I didn't look into the fire sequence at the beginning as much as you did. I'm just like, Michael is pissed.
Yeah,
he's pissed.
Totally
and
okay with it.
He is energized, and he is gonna kill some bitches up in this movie. I've seen it twice myself, but I'll have to watch it again to see if I can see the Keanu Reeves Matrix moves that you're talking about there.
Well, it's just like somebody would swing something at him and he would literally just be like, whoosh, and it would go past him. And I was just like, come on.
I'll tell you what I liked and I didn't like. I will agree that I did not like the whole mob mentality thing, the hospital scene. I thought it was dragged the film down. I just thought it was a waste of time. I'd love to sit down with the director and really pick his brain. I'm like, why? How did you come up with that exact way to show that in the movie and whatnot? For me, Tommy Doyle was my least favorite part of the movie.
Should have been Paul Rudd.
I didn't care for Anthony Michael Hall as Tommy Doyle, and I don't hate Anthony Michael Hall. I felt like that was forced. And to me, there wasn't really a plot. To me, this was a bridge to the next film.
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
The problem is this needed to be a bridge that was on the level of Empire Strikes Back. Like this needed to be a good standalone movie with a better cliffhanger than we got.
No, not really to me, because it technically is the third film.
Okay, I mean, I guess, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's technically the third film, but it's the second film of this current trilogy per se and whatnot. What I loved about it was that I love the flashback scenes, and I think that they kind of interweaved them in and added some things. I just think that it was phenomenal that they were able to capture the look as much as possible back to the original film that night and such. I'm like, how are they going to pull this shit off? Sure. And I think they did a phenomenal job. So I kind of like the backstory of the 1978 and whatnot. I think that was the strength of the film. I am so glad that they brought Lindsay Wallace back. I like Kyle Richards because I watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just glad that she's going to be around for the next one. So I'll put it that way. And then I will say that someone had to die.
Sure.
That is well known, and I won't give that spoiler away. And it's kind of like, okay, all right, someone had to die. So I'm glad who's still alive. I'm glad that they're still alive and such for the next film.
Right.
One other thing I wanted to bring up is that one of the things that, I'm a little disappointed in with this new Halloween trilogy or series, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Is why we loved the first one so much, right?
Yep.
It's a respectful piece of artwork, and it's one of the best horror movies of all time. If anything, it's my all-time favorite horror movie and favorite film of all time for its simplicity.
Sure.
We can't exactly replicate the first one because we'd be bored off our minds because it's like it's been done already.
Yep.
But what I cannot understand, and this is what I mentioned earlier that I'd bring up in this segment here, is why do we love the first one so much for the simplicity and not seeing a lot of the gore? Why do we feel like we have to see a lot of the gore now? Because we keep going back to the first one and love it so much, but it's kind of like, why is it so gory now?
The answer is
why? I'm sorry, what?
The answer is a producer who makes that decision, because they have people who do surveys and ask questionnaires of people, and audiences that they survey tell them that they want blood and violence and stuff like that. And so
we love the first. Everyone still loves the first one the best.
I'm with you.
And if anything, I think David Gordon Green, in kind of bringing this back or rebooting it, however you want to phrase that and whatnot, wanted to really pay homage to the original and change up the storyline and kind of take from the first one. So we love the first one so much that we didn't see a lot of stuff, which made it more scary. And so I kind of wish that they had tapped into that, because this last one, even though I enjoyed it was like a Rob Zombie movie almost. But I get like Michael is pissed now, so he's like just taking it to the next level. But even if you look back at 2018's Halloween, there were some real gory scenes in that.
There were.
And I'm like, what really was what was the purpose of that? Although I'm not hating on it, I'm just kind of like, movie so much, and I know that it can't repeat the same element of simpleness and not having to see everything. And that's what I wanted more out of this whole reboot series, was that same level of simplicity from the first one. And Michael lurks and creeps behind in the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not that anymore. And like, why can't, even though we know about Michael Myers and people know about Michael Myers existing now, why can't we have him creep up on fucking people? Quiet creep and great lighting shots where he peers from the dark. You know what I mean?
I will say this, though, about the 2018 version, the scene with the motion sensor lights, and he just keeps getting closer.
Incredible. Great.
Yeah, that was a really well done scene.
That was a very, very well executed scene. I'll give you that. Yeah. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just kind of I wanted a little bit more eeriness like that.
Sure. Well, and something that I did appreciate in Halloween Kills, one of the victims that he kills, it's got the shot looking into her kitchen from like the living room, and you see her go, off screen left. And then Michael walks in and walks down and then goes left. But the camera stays right here, and all you hear is the attack. And I loved that scene in Halloween Kills for the Hitchcockian ness of it, where Hitchcock always said that what you don't see and what your mind makes up is scarier than anything he could ever put on film. So just hearing the attack, and then after the attack is done, the camera moves in and goes past her. She's got her head smashed into the table or whatever with a knife in it or whatever, but like it just goes past it, and it's like, oh yeah, here's what Michael did, but you didn't see it. I really enjoyed that scene.
I would have loved more of that, but at the same time, when we're talking about Michael Myers in these movies, it is like the worst of worst, the fear of fear, the evil, and what he does to people in his killings. But it's almost like we're really getting a taste of that now, because it was so tamed down in the first one. His killings were brutal and bad in the first one, but we didn't see a lot of it, which was still scary. But now it's just kind of like, oh, it's 2021, and so now we need to just see this shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but no, I'm a big Halloween fan. I mean, they could put Michael Myers in a dairy factory and slicing milk cartons, and I would find a way to like it. You know what I mean? So is it perfect? No, but there are moments in Halloween Kills that are brilliant and well executed. and I cannot wait for the next one. So
Yeah, I agree with you. Mayor, you got anything else to say on Halloween Kills? No? You good? Well, guys, we went over our hour limit by a little bit, but you know what? Life goes on. We'll try to do better in the future. I have no idea what next week's episode will be or what we'll talk about, or if we even do one next week. We'll see. We'll see how everybody's feeling. I am excited, I will say, because in 2 days, I am going to Scarlet Lane Brewery for what they are calling their Stabathon. As you can tell from my Stab t-shirt, they are showing all 4 Scream films in a row, starting at 8 p.m., going till 3 o'clock in the morning. While I won't get to drink any of their delicious beers, I'm still super excited to go. This is something that I do every year as part of my Halloween. I watch all 4 of the movies in a row in one single night. So the fact that I get to do this with a whole group of people who are all, I assume, going to be as Scream fanatics as me, I'm super pumped and excited to go and do this. So I should hopefully have a really awesome weekend doing that. You guys got any Jason watching Dune?
Yeah. So speaking of Scream, are you excited? Were you excited about the Scream trailer that was released?
I am super excited for Scream 5, man. Like I get pumped. Anything Scream related. I liked all 3 of the TV seasons that they did when MTV did it on television. I watched all 3 of those and liked them. Again, like I said earlier, I just really enjoy serial killers killing people and me trying to figure out who it is. It's better if I don't figure it out. Go ahead.
Well, I'm excited for you because I think they're going to take this one to a new level, and it's actually going to be really, really good.
I think it will be pretty good too.
I'm excited to see where they go with it. And I was thinking about you the other day because I was watching the Drew Barrymore show.
Okay.
And she was talking about the original Scream.
Oh.
So one of the questions was how it all came about. You know, she was a secret producer on the film.
I did not know that.
An untitled producer of the film. And she didn't really go into deep detail of why that was.
Very interesting.
Yeah, she was an uncredited producer of the film, and she was the one that really helped to get that greenlit and such. And I thought that was kind of like, whoa. And, you know, hearing it from her mouth, you know.
Sure. I did know
she
that
was originally supposed to play
Sydney. Yep.
And she
I did know that.
Hey, let's flip this.
Yep.
And such. So
it was her idea to kill her off in the opening scene. I think if I remember right, she hadn't signed on officially to be Sydney, but they were pushing her to be Sydney. I think they had another actress cast in that opening sequence, and then she was literally like, "Nah, I get rid of her. I want to do that instead. Find somebody else to be Sydney." And I think that was awesome. It was perfect when it was done. I snuck into Theater 7 at Clearwater to watch that.
Yeah, she was talking about how at the time, you know, she wasn't thinking like franchise and the money opportunity in it, and she didn't get to that point until Charlie's Angels. But she was thinking like, you know, had I thought about it then, I could have been on the bandwagon for the rest of the films and whatnot. But you know, but Scream is she's a big reason why Scream got made. So
that's awesome, and I'm happy because I absolutely love Scream. So yeah, I'm super excited. The trailer got me more hype. I kind of think some of the stuff in the trailer is red herring stuff. Like I think there are scenes in that trailer that are not going to be in the actual movie. They look different enough to me that they feel like they were filmed. I think they took a page from the Russos and fake filmed some stuff, because I've watched the trailer probably like 20 times by now because I'm so excited for it that like there's just scenes that don't feel right to me in the trailer. And I'm like, I don't know how this would fit into the movie. So I don't know. But again, I'm going to enjoy it. I still like Scream 4 far better than Scream 3. Jason, you've never gone back. I've asked you to go back and watch Scream 4 again. It ages. Scream 4 was 5 years too early. Scream 4 hit on everything that happened 5 years after the movie came out. Like, it was so far ahead of its time. You say that, but there's been other movies that you've rewatched that you're right, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And this is going to be one of them if you ever give it 2 hours of your time.
I watched it again weeks ago, a couple of months ago.
I did too, and I liked it much better when I watched it a few weeks ago than I did in the theater because I had higher hopes for it and such.
Sure.
I was thinking today, someone was
the third and the fourth.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and someone was saying how much they hated Scream 3. And so I need to go back. I want to watch 1, 2, and 3 back to back.
Sure.
Just in 3, I've forgotten a lot of what's happened in 3. So,
well, three had a lot of script problems. There was supposed to be 2 killers at the end of 3. In editing, they decided to edit out the second killer. So if you watch the movie and you know that, it's very obvious who the second killer was. And they ended up completely editing that out of the movie, which makes it a very disjointed and disconnected movie when you get to the end and find out there's only one killer. Like, it was right on the heels of Columbine. Miramax put in Jay and Silent Bob because they wanted it to be funnier. They literally
who died at the beginning of that?
Who dies? Liev Schreiber.
In the beginning of Scream 3?
Yep.
Yeah, his wife and him get killed.
See, I can't
wait.
remember that.
Was his wife killed in that one? I remember him being killed.
Yeah, she gets killed also.
I was watching Scream 2, the beginning of it the other day on AMC. Scream 2, the opening sequence is just stellar.
Oh, yeah.
For a follow-up movie, it's just stellar. But I could never figure out how the fuck can someone take a knife through the bathroom stall thing like that? Yeah.
Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. But you know what? Again, there's things that I just, I let it go because I enjoy it so much.
Well, then you need to let the Michael Myers Matrix thing go.
Watch it again, man, and just think about it. Like, how's a 60-year-old dude? How's a 60-year-old dude taking on these 20-year-old firefighters in their prime that they fight like it's in a Jackie Chan sequence where they only go one at a time?
Dude, the motherfucker was shot 6 times by Dr. Loomis in the first one and lived.
Yeah. What did you say, Maier?
I said superhuman.
Okay. Yeah, it's all right. And again, like, I don't hate Halloween Kills. That's just the one thing in it that I'm kind of like, blah. But, most movies have more than just that. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap it up because, like I said, we're well over our hour limit that we were going for. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. If we don't do an episode next week, I hope you guys have a happy Halloween. I hope you guys get in a lot more Halloween movies this upcoming week. And then, we will talk again soon. Audience, as I said, I have no idea what the next episode is going to be about or when it's going to come out, but I needed to get out of my funk. I needed to talk to my friends, and I thank you guys for listening at the same time. All right. Have a good week.